Loud now? Oh, he's tall. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm waking you guys up. My name is Jennifer Bourne. I am your fearless leader this year. Thank you. We haven't been in this room for a couple weeks. We had such a great week last week doing our Serve project, so it's good to see everybody again. Today, our invocation will be led by Sheila Cleveland. Hope she knows that. And then our pledge of four-way test will be Banks Hickman. Just kidding. Sheila Sheriff.
Yeah, after about 35 years, it's kind of hard to change the name. Okay, you can bow your heads and pray with me, please. Heavenly Father, continue to help us reflect the Rotary ideal of service above self, to serve others with kindness and humility. Bless our hands that they may help bring help, our hearts that may show compassion, and our efforts that may make a difference in our community. Guide our local and state national leaders in decisions with fairness, compassion, and truth, but help them seek the common good above personal gain. Lord, lift our fellow Rotarians, Louis Rankin and George Barrett and his wife, and other family and friends who are struggling right now. We ask you give them strength when they feel weak and peace when their hearts are troubled. In his name, amen.
Join me in the four-way test for the things we think, say, and do. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and for all. Now you can join me for the four-way test. All right, number one. Number two. Three. And four.
All right, and Jen Shepherd, how many guests do we have today?
All right, everybody. Sometimes we have 15 people to introduce. Today we have one. We've got a visitor, Maria Edelman. Is that how you pronounce it? Would you like to introduce yourself to us?
My name is Maria, and I'm originally from Austria, from Vienna, and I've been living a long time. I was teaching Latin, German, and Spanish in various high schools and also at college. And I've moved to Tennessee 6 years ago because of my late husband, and I have my family here in Nashville. So that's why I moved, and I'm happy to be here.
Hey, y'all, she visited a couple months ago when we had our community grants program and got connected with Better Options Tennessee and has been working with them since. So isn't that awesome?
Thank you. And that's it for today.
All right, a couple announcements. First and foremost, we have a lot of birthdays in October, but we have one birthday I want to celebrate today because he's sitting in the room and he's also turning 89 years old. So if you are brave enough to show up at a meeting on your birthday, we're going to celebrate you on that day. Curry. Happy birthday. Do you guys want to sing? I think we should sing. Go for it.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Curry. Happy birthday to you.
All right, we've embarrassed him properly. Okay, so some serving opportunities. Banks or Laura, do you want to come up and talk about our next?
So as it says up here, we're still booked for the 8th of November to be out at Alice Hill. I actually spoke to Doug today. Is Doug here? No, he's actually going to be bringing his side-by-side as well to help us out with hauling the debris. So that'll make everything a lot easier and a lot quicker. So he did ask if we needed anything other tool-wise. They'll be providing everything we need. The only thing you can bring if you have them already is gardening gloves or anything like that. You want to use I'll provide some as well. But other than that, if you guys have any questions, just call, email me. And then also, we are getting the scouts involved. So if you know of any scouts that want to help out as well, just let me know because I need to send you a form for them to fill out to allow them to be on site. So any other questions, just let me know. And thank you, guys.
Okay, a couple other announcements, and we're always going to try to keep these as up to date as we possibly can. If you are a rising leader in our club, or if you have any interest in leadership, Rotary Leadership Institute, they picked the date, so sorry for the Alice Hill, but if you have an interest, there is some different RLI trainings, 1, 2, and 3. They're doing all 3 on this date. There is a November 11th. The city of Brentwood is doing 11/11 at 11. So if you are able to attend that, it's going to be here at the police department, and it is going to be, if my understanding, the unveiling of the new memorial that they have put together for the city. So come to that if you want to just support Brentwood. November 21st, yep, 11/11 at 11. That's how I've been remembering in my head. November 21st, and I did put the flyer in Reflections, so you will see that for the next couple of weeks until November 11th from the city in Reflections. November 21st is our Rotary Foundation dinner. So at the Cool Springs Marriott, every year, quite a few of us try to get together and go to that. So please, if you guys would like to attend it, it's a great event. It is with the district only, so it is nice. There's also the next day a DACDB training. If you're a nerd like me and Ruane and want to learn more about DACDB, the club will pay for that training if you would like to attend that. And then our Christmas party. So I want to make sure to tell you about the Christmas party because we are also doing our annual casino night that night. So instead of just showing up and an hour later, you're done, you're all dressed up and nowhere to go, we're going to play. We are moving the event to the Brentwood Country Club from Richland this year. If you have any questions on that, let me know, but we're doing it for cost reasons to try to save some money. And it's a lateral move in my opinion. But if you differ in that, call me. But yeah, so December 4th, we'd love to see you guys at that event as well. Any questions on upcoming events? Okay, Happy Bucks. Bob Thompson is going to lead Happy Bucks today.
Is this on? Yes. Okay, well, I'm happy to be back from Philadelphia where I was celebrating the 250th anniversary of the United States Navy and the United States Marine Corps. It was a great time. There you go. Who else is happy? Oh, okay. Claudia.
I have 2. Didn't mean to have that, but very happy. But I am very happy. Just found out that I'm going to have a granddaughter in April. Woohoo! My first.
Okay, everything's. Here we are. Mr. Kane.
So it was about 1979, I think, or maybe later part of 78. My administrative assistant at the bank came back to me one Monday, I think, and said, "Hey, I was on a plane flight this afternoon. I met this guy that's going to come to Brentwood and open a car dealership." I said, "What?" She said, "Yeah, a Cadillac." I said, "Really?" She said, "Yeah, he's going to move here from Detroit or somewhere, and he's going to open a Cadillac dealership." And so anyway, here we are, however many years that is. Yeah, 20 years ago. Typical car dealer, right? Yeah. Anyway, that's as long as I've known Curry, just as long as he's been here, and we've been fast friends ever since and shared a lot of time together in the city doing things, and I just appreciate you, brother. Love you.
Okay, who else is happy? Okay. Okay, Jen.
Hey, I got a couple things, so I put in a couple dollars today. If anyone's interested in going to RLI, let me know. I'm going to go. Sorry, Banks and Laura. It's really interesting. It's a full day. I'm going to drive. Would be happy for anybody to go with me. The day passes so quickly, and you learn so much about Rotary. It's a 3-part class. If you want to know more, ask any of the Jennifers or Susie or any past president. It's a really good program. Second, the foundation pledge drive launches next week, and I would love if everyone would resurrect their club pin and their Paul Harris pin. We've got some really good programs coming up, and I anticipate we're going to have some guests in the room, and these pins are really educational and help everyone else understand what we're pushing for. So I know I've talked to couple people that are like, I don't want to wear my pin or whatever. It's not about you wearing the pin. It's about educating the people around you. So we'd love it if you would resurrect your pin. Lori Reed's going to give me some advice on what to do for people that actually show up with their pins. I hear she's an expert at that. And then one more. This is also the time of year that we start gearing up for the next Rotary year. And if you have any interest in being a part of leadership, please reach out to a Jennifer. We want to make sure that we don't overlook anyone that's interested. It doesn't matter if you've done RLI, if you've done grad school, if you just have any interest in helping us continue to move the club forward and how we're evolving, please join us. We'd love to have you, and it's not that much work. It's a lot of work, but it's not that much work, and we would love, so please reach out.
Thank you. Okay, who else? Oh, Laura's always happy.
All right, I'm putting a couple bucks in. First, November 7th is going to be a committee meeting for community service. If you enjoyed what we did on Friday, we want to hear your feedback. We want to talk about new ideas, about things that we can do together as a club that make a difference. So I'd love for you to be there. It's going to be at 11 o'clock before our 12 o'clock meeting. So it will not be long, but if you're wanting to even find out what our committee does, please come, because everybody is supposed to be on 2 committees. And if you're not serving on 2 committees, you might be on a committee and you're not serving on them. Make sure you're serving on 2 committees. But come out and join us on November 7th. And secondly, Brentwood High School is currently up 2-1 in best of 5 sets at the volleyball state championship right now. So I'm hoping to hear from my boys in the next hour that Brentwood's going to take home the title. So go Brentwood.
Thank you. Okay, who else happy? Alan. Oh. We even have money this week.
Yeah, that is $1 for my dad who passed on, but he was a huge Vanderbilt fanatic, and he loved Vanderbilt. And I'm telling you, I think Vanderbilt may be in the college playoffs this year. Remarkable. And wouldn't that be something if it came down to Vanderbilt, Tennessee game to see who goes to the college playoffs?
Susie?
Thank you. All right. I wanted to put in money because I'm a proud mom. I know I brought my son here a couple months ago. My son not only has a job, he just moved into an apartment that he's paying for with his own rent, with his own money that he earns at work.
On that up note, okay. Anybody else? Happy bucks? We're a happy crowd today. Thanks.
All right. The next thing we'll move on is to our speaker. Today, to introduce our speaker, will be our birthday boy, Curry Andrews.
The individual speaking, Scott Augenbaum, had given me like a 16-page comments to make on him, and I narrowed it down to a few. In any event, Scott is a retired special agent who spent more than 30 years with the FBI. He spent the time in New York City, Syracuse, Washington, and he spent time here in Nashville, where he served as a special agent of the FBI Cyber Criminal Task Force from 2006 to 2018. In Nashville, Scott led major cybercrime investigations involving everything from nation-state threats to financial data breaches, giving him a first-row seat to the growing crisis in digital security. Today, Scott travels the country as a speaker, author, and cybersecurity educator, helping individuals and organizations adopt a cyber security mindset, and now in a technical approach to reducing cyber risk. He is a regular contributor to cable news, appearing every Wednesday morning at 9:45 on Newsmax. Well, he breaks down complex cyber threats for everyday listeners. So welcome, Scott.
Sorry. How come you didn't tell everyone where we met? Honestly, you know, in the FBI, I worked organized crime where we dealt with some of the worst criminal elements. We dealt with the Cosa Nostra Italian organized crime, the Russian mafia. We dealt with the Chinese mafia, but there was only one organized group that we have not been able to dismantle: the car dealers. You know, I tried to get Curry to turn and become an informant, but he ended up feeding me most of the time. Well, hi everyone, I'm Scott Augenbaum. If you see the big smile on my face, it is because I am retired from the FBI. Let's get the record straight. I spent from 2006 to 2018 in Nashville, Tennessee. That's why I have that Southern accent. How y'all doing? Getting a little better. So what does that mean? I did not work on Hillary's email. I didn't work on the Trump dossier. If you have any tough questions, bring it on. Curry calls me every other day going, what's going on with the FBI in the news? And I say to him, because I treat him like family. And I'm going to treat you the same way. And I'm going to go, Curry, I get a great pension once a month. Just let it go, okay? It's the same thing I'm going to tell you. People ask me all the time, do I miss the FBI? And I'm like, are you kidding me? That's crazy. But I had the greatest career in the world. I started in 1988 in the New York City field office because my mom, who's 91 years old, even older than you, there is a person in this world older than you, raised by a single mom in New York City. It was tough on both of us, but she was just happy. When I was going from 9th to 10th grade, she was excited. When I got into community college, she was, oh, we have someone going to college in the family. I didn't have the heart to tell her in order to get into community college, all you really needed was a high school diploma and not be convicted of a felony. I said when I was going to go to community college, I was going to get my act together, and I graduated with a 2.27 grade point average. My mom was thrilled, okay? You know, but when you have a 2.27 grade point average, the world is not knocking down your door with opportunities. There's not a lot of things you can do. I'm sure I could have became a Cadillac dealer. That's just true. Curry, on your birthday, I am so sorry. Yeah, at the prison. But my mom was always such a forward thinker. And she didn't believe I would do it myself. She actually filled out an application for me to become a file clerk with the FBI. So my joke is, you know, if you're not smart enough to bring down the world, the federal government will always hire you. And, you know, my mom said to me at the time, 20-year-old kid, 1988, she said, this is going to be amazing. You're going to have a pension and you're going to have health care. And I was like, what are you talking about? But, you know, I did retire at 50. You know, so I see her now. She takes credit for everything in my life. She's a combination between George Costanza's mother and Jerry Seinfeld's mother. And she says to me, Scott, if it wasn't for me, you'd still be hanging out with your pothead friends in New York City. I didn't have the heart to tell her, Mom, I'm retired from the FBI. I got the band back together and everything like that. But, you know, I spent six years in New York. Went back to college, finished up, got a really good degree, started working on a degree in information technology at Fordham University and finance back in the 90s. I got sent to Syracuse, New York. I became an FBI agent when I was 26 years old, needed a 4-year college degree, 3 years work-related experience. When I got up to Syracuse, New York in 95, if you asked me to find the role of an FBI agent in 1995, I'm going to tell you how easy it was. Bad people did bad things to good people. I worked with state and local cops. We put bad guys in jail. What a fun and exciting job for a 27-year-old kid from Brooklyn, New York. A gun, a badge, a car with lights and sirens, so when someone was tailgating you on the New York State Thruway, you accidentally put your fingers on the blinkers and freaked them out. Just kidding, I would never. It's one of the things I actually miss today about it. But I didn't join the FBI to work cyber cases. I didn't join the FBI to become a public speaker today. I travel the world. I teach audiences how to reduce their chances of becoming the next cybercrime victim. But how did I get involved in the world of cybercrime? Because in 1997, the FBI formed the National Infrastructure Protection Center at Washington, D.C. to fight the emerging cyber threat. And in 1997, I had advanced computer skills. Anyone want to tell me what were advanced computer skills in 1997? That's way too complicated. Okay, way too complicated. I had a little more skills than that, sir, okay? I was an expert in computer networking. I knew how to use AOL. So I became the cyber guy in the office, which was not the cool, fun, sexy job to have. We were chasing thrill seekers. We were chasing amateurs. The events of September 11th changed the FBI forever. Terrorism, #1 priority, counterintelligence, #2, and cybercrime, the #3 priority. In 2003, I got promoted to FBI headquarters as a supervisor in the newly formed cyber division, where we were building a strategy. And there were forward-thinking people in the government back from '98. People say to me all the time, Scott, what do you think of the government's new strategy? I'm like, nobody followed the strategy in '98. We've seen 7 strategies. But when I went to DC in 2003, all of my peers made fun of me. They told me the cybercrime problem was going to be solved by 2006 by a lot of smart people and technology. Let me ask you all, how's that working out for any of us today? It really isn't. I came here in 2006 as the first supervisor of the FBI Cyber Squad in Nashville, Tennessee, where I managed the task force with the FBI, the TBI, the Franklin Police Department, a couple of other agencies, and we fought the emerging cyber threat. We were a very, very sleepy little squad in 2006. And then the problem just kept getting worse year after year, and it exploded. I retired in 2018 on my 50th birthday because I had a couple of really big epiphanies when I was with the FBI. I realized that a majority of the victimizations that I dealt with during my decades with the FBI easily could have been prevented if my end users were only armed with a few key pieces of information. So when I retired in 2018, and we're going to talk about what I've learned, interviewed almost 1,000 people, I didn't think the cybercrime problem could have become any worse than it was in 2018. I thought we were at ground zero. We came off Community Health Systems, had a major data breach here. 2014 by the Chinese government, I was seeing the business email compromise, impacting small and medium-sized businesses here. I can't tell you how many nonprofits I saw that were destroyed by cyber criminals because they don't care who you are. I've seen the cyber criminals steal from religious organizations. So in 2017, 2018, I'm kind of like the town crier, if anyone here has seen me speak before, because that was my job with the FBI, to go out and educate people. But the global cybercrime problem was a $3 trillion problem in 2018. And I'm telling everyone, hey, everybody, the problem's going to come up to become a $6 trillion problem by 2021. And now we're 2025 and it's a $10 trillion global problem. And I have millions and millions of dollars in losses here locally. You don't read about them in the paper. Nobody wants to admit that they're the victim of cybercrime. But let me ask you, do you think is the problem getting better or is the problem getting worse? Getting much worse. But one of the things I keep seeing is we keep spending more and more money on cybercrime. So what does it mean if the cybercrime problem is going up, let's say 15% a year, and we're spending almost an extra 15% every year on products and services? What does that mean? Not working. Anyone else? Let's think about it. If we're spending more money, shouldn't the problem get better? So why is that? What do you think? Why does the problem keep getting worse? What's that? Yeah, we have more and more users. But one of the things that I discovered was, oh my goodness, 90% of what I dealt with easily could have been prevented if my end users just had that pieces of information. I even wrote a book called The Secret to Cybersecurity. Don't buy it. I'm going to give you all the audio copy of the book today. I have it on, I read it. It's on a service, on a cloud-based platform. If you're looking for a good book by an FBI agent who saved the day, put a lot of bad guys in jail, you got the wrong speaker here today. I'm not your guy, all right? But if you're looking how to keep your family and your business safe, I'm your guy. Because what I end up doing, and this is why I ended up retiring from the FBI, is because I realized I can do much more outside of the FBI than I ever could do. Last week, I did 3 keynote presentations in 4 days from Kentucky to New York City to Tampa. And what I do out there is I have something that I call the cyber secure mindset. But what I need to do is change your behavior. I need to have you look at this problem a little bit differently. So let me explain to you what I call the 4 truths of cybersecurity. This is every one of my victims all fell into the same category. Nobody ever expected to be a victim. Why would anyone want to target me? I'm just a small insurance company. I'm a small manufacturing organization. I had a $300 million company tell me that they were a small business. This is my empathy nerve. I pull on this for empathy. Doesn't work a lot. And because I wanted to say, where are you getting your information from? People magazine? Cyber criminals don't care about your stuff. I had a $500 million healthcare company told me they weren't concerned about being victimized. You know why? Because across the street was HCA, which is a $54 billion company. I once had a publicly traded company here tell me they weren't concerned because the cyber criminals are only targeting companies $10 billion and above. And I'm like, that is not the case. Everyone who has an email, everyone who has a cell phone number, and everyone who has a bank account, and it doesn't matter how much money you have in your bank account, the cyber criminals will try to get it. So the second truth to cybersecurity is once the bad guys steal your stuff, once you have a data breach, or let's not even say it's a data breach, let's just say it's something that happened to my next door neighbor who ended up realizing that somebody got into their personal email, got into their brokerage account and stole $40,000 because they didn't keep their password safe. It wasn't the bank's responsibility, it was their responsibility. So when the bad guys steal your money and you call the local police, good luck. When I was with the FBI in 2018, I met with every single victim. It was a lot. We had 1 victim a day. Today, I talked to my buddies with the FBI, 300 victimizations a week. Can't get to them all. I had a situation where I had an individual lost $600,000 in a cryptocurrency romance scam, and they were tricked. They were socially engineered. And I went to the guy in the FBI and my buddy, I was like, can someone at least go out and talk to them? It's like, listen, we have 5 victims who've lost $1 million and above, and we can't even get their money back. The next truth to cybersecurity is putting the bad guys in jail is just hard. Today's cyber criminals are located overseas. They're located in Russia. They're located in China. They're located over in West Africa. And then people go, Scott, how come we can't arrest these bad guys? And I go, do you think Vladimir Putin's picking up the phone for anyone today? Or the Chinese government? Even though the FBI and the Secret Service do a great job putting bad people in jail, it's still really, really challenging. So let's kind of cover a couple of things. Cybercrime problems going up, it's getting worse. I hear from people all the time, hey, listen, I got my IT guy handling it. Cyber criminals are targeting us as individuals. We all do commerce. We're all online. The problem's getting worse. No matter how much money we spend, it's not making a difference. Bad guys steal your stuff, you're not getting it back, and nobody is going to jail. Let me ask you, how does that make you feel? I'm looking for emotional. Vulnerable, that's good. Paying to buy insurance. For what?
Well, I bought it. I've had some past. I think part of the problem is the insurance company.
Well, that's great. I had one company that had $100,000 in insurance. No, they had $1 million in insurance. They had a $45 million problem. And what's the best word that I say? You can insure your risks, but you still need to take responsibility. Can't get your money back. Nobody's going to jail. You know what it makes me feel? It makes me feel depressed. Because when I deal with victimizations today and people call me up all the time, I listen to the story in 10 seconds. I could have figured out what they did wrong. That was my epiphany that I had when I was with the FBI. I realized that majority of cybercrime prevention could be easily prevented, but I can't do it all. People like Ted and his company are out there, and they're the ones that are doing that. And we have these discussions all the time. You know, who wants to spend money on something that they don't think it's ever going to happen to us until it's too late? And then you realize that you try to insure your risk, but then all of a sudden I'm dealing with someone's senior parent who just lost $750,000 in a crypto romance scam because they voluntarily picked up the phone and gave all the money away. The cyber criminals are really, really good at what they do. But it's not that overwhelming. And that's where I dedicate the rest of my life to doing. I go around the companies. I am a checkbox for Fortune 500 companies. They pay me a bag of money to do a 1-hour presentation. So as Geico would say, they can save 10% on their cyber liability insurance. Honestly. And then I go to these companies and I go like this, hey, I built a training system on how to keep your senior parents safe and how your kids safe. And they go like this, well, that's not a requirement of my insurance. I go, okay, but I'm still going to offer it as part of my overpriced fees. And then I go like this, hey, I'm going to give you a webinar in 6 months to answer questions. They're like, well, are you thick? All we want you to do is take the bag of money to do an hour talk so we can save 10%. I'm like, all right, thank you. I mean, there's worse ways to make a living. I mean, could be a car dealer, I guess. I'm sorry, on your birthday, you don't deserve me. You don't deserve me. All right, yes. Remember, we all say we hurt the ones we love, right? So let's kind of go through it a little bit over here. I don't want to paint it too bad. I scare people for a living, but what I end up doing is I end up putting things together into a process in a place. And in a few minutes, about 2 minutes, I'm going to give you my website. I'm going to give you everything you need to stay safe. But there's one thing you got to do. You got to put in the effort. Got to put in the effort. It's like me giving away a free Peloton bike. And you put your clothes on the Peloton bike. I'm guilty of it. No, I'm guilty of it too. We have to take steps. So let me kind of walk you through a couple of things here that none of my victims had in place. Freezing your credit. Probably the most important thing you could do. I usually ask my audience how many people freeze their, I don't want anyone to raise their hands. Ted, what percentage of the population do you think freezes their credit when I go over and speak in front of 300 people? 10% of the population. There's so much information. AT&T, Change Healthcare, Ticketmaster, 1 billion names, dates of birth, social security numbers online. If you don't have your credit frozen, bad guys are going to go in and open up credit accounts in your name. The other thing is all these passwords are on the dark web. They're all on the dark web. And when I go over and I talk about we need to have a list of mission critical accounts, because we do not want the bad guys to get into our most important accounts, such as work email. We don't want, I had a situation recently, and I want to just tell this one quick story. I had a victim who just lost $400 million in a cyber scam. He calls me up. Bad guys sent a wire transfer request to the bank. First thing I asked him is, did you have two-factor authentication on your work email? Like, no. So now the cyber criminal got into his work email and sent an email to the bank. They consolidated all of his accounts because he had the same email for his bank as he did his email, and they sent an email request to the bank to send $1 million. Do I have any bank people here today? Okay, what is the bank going to do when they get the request to wire transfer $1 million? Absolutely. You call the client, you pick up the phone, and I want you to process this in a second. So the bank picks up the phone. Mr. Smith, would you like to make this $1 million wire transfer to Hong Kong, which he never sent money to before? And Mr. Smith goes like this, yes, I would. So what are you in the bank going to do? Send it. But what ended up happening? Mr. Smith didn't have two-factor authentication on his Verizon account. How many of your bank customers do you think know that they need to put two-factor authentication on their bank wire on their bank account? I work with a couple of bank clients because, and you know who I work with? The marketing people, because I go like, when I talk to bank executives, that they don't care, but I go as a value add. So now there's a $1 million wire transfer here. I can be an expert witness. I can represent both parties. Know your customer. Did your customer ever send $1 million? I go over to the bank and say, you didn't have two-factor authentication. All of this easily could have been prevented if they just would have known to put the two-factor authentication on their mission critical accounts. Now, if you're Bank of America, you got $1 gazillion, you could pay it out. You have a lot of reserve. You can take your customer to court. But what about for my small banks where they deal with you for those personal relationships? These are the questions in the financial services sector that we need to be asking. Also, with the use of artificial intelligence, the cyber criminals were able to create perfect emails. I have a holiday shopping guide that I'm going to give you because the cyber criminals take off between Thanksgiving, between Black Friday and Cyber Monday, they take off. Have you ever heard of Cyber Criminal Tuesday? I made that up and I registered the domain, so don't go for it. Because the cyber criminals will get to work, and everyone here in this room will probably get an email, a text message, or a telephone call from Amazon saying that your package has been delayed in shipping. What percentage of this room do you think will be waiting for a package on Tuesday? All of us. All of us. Who goes shopping anymore? I mean, a couple of us. Have you been to the mall lately? Who wants to do that? These are the things that we have to be aware of. So what I'm going to do, if you can put the other thing on, which I'm going to show you, I have loaded my book onto this platform. So what I'd like you to do, or you can email me. Oh, that's a .com, Scott at Cyber Secure Mindset. There is a platform here that you will be able to get the copy of my book, The Secret to Cyber Security. And for anyone, I would say for $9.99, I'll do my best top 10 things that annoy me about curry. You know, I can do my stand-up comedy act, But a couple of things, and what eventually I'm going to do is part of my initiative is I'm trying to build something that's consumer facing. Because this information is not getting out to the public. So you're going to get the audio, and this is my gift to you. Get as many as possible because I'm going to end up sending Curry a bill for everything. So give this out for free as many times as possible. And I'm going to give you all of this information because I've known I'm talking really fast here today, and I probably would have had more if I didn't pick on my friend over here. That was selfish of me. But I want to tell you that most cybercrime victimization can be prevented, but you have to put a little work into it. I'm going to be honest for you, and I've tried to break it down into a non-technical, humorous, sarcastic way, which is just who I am and what I do. So what I want to do is take the next couple of minutes and see if there's any questions. Afterwards, if anyone has any issues trying to get access to this, I will, or I'll give it to Curry to kind of defend himself. And yes.
I just want to make sure this QR code's not putting some type of malware phishing on our phones.
Hey, it's a risk you have to take. But and listen to some. Hey, go pay $14.99 on Amazon. You know, no, that's a great point. And let me just give you one thing about this. If you ever scan a QR code and it asks you to log into your email system, that's a scam. Do not log in. If you get something, I had a big Fortune 500 company got defeated because the CFO got an email that came from HR, told them to scan this, and they did it, and it asked to enter the username and password, and the bad guys were able to get it.
Scott, thank you for coming. I know you've been here before, but we love having you. You always have such great information. I have a quick question about freezing freezing accounts. Do you have to contact all three of the credit bureaus or just one?
I was just doing one for the longest time. I also use a service. I'll send you what I end up using. I was never big into identity theft protection, but now I kind of think we kind of need something. I use something that I recommend. I'll email it to you. They don't pay me to do free advertising. Yeah, for years, I just ended up doing it, I think, with TransUnion. And then all of a sudden, I had to do it with another one. So, and that's such a challenging thing. Does anyone here have their credit frozen? Does anyone, that's a great number. Does anyone here think it's a pain? At first it was a pain. Yes. So here's what ends up happening. The first time I did it was, I had to remember where was my code. And then I couldn't find it. And it took probably about 45 minutes. And I was like, what a pain. Now I get to the point where I needed to do an apartment. I needed to co-sign my son's apartment at UT Knoxville. Credit was frozen. I had it stored in a book in my house. I'll go back to my house and I'll get it. And then I just unfroze it. It took 5 minutes. I know it's a pain, but it's definitely worth the risk. And on the service that I used, I got notified within 5 minutes that a new credit account was opened. So it's definitely worth the risk. Yes, sir.
Yes. As on a personal note or personal situation, freezing your credit and doing the two-time authorization, is there anything else you would recommend we can do as individuals to really protect?
Yeah, follow me on LinkedIn. I do videos all the time.
Maybe one more. One more.
Okay, so here's what if I have it right now, if I was on the news, what do we really need to realize? Besides freezing out credit and two-factor authentication, understand social engineering. Social engineering is the #1 tool in the cyber criminals tool belt. But Scott, we have an email phishing protection program at work. That's not social engineering training. We're dealing with text messages. We're dealing with robocalls. We're dealing with pop-ups, social media hijacking. I'm going to write another paper on that. I'm in the process of writing another book. And that's why I'm giving out all these books now, because eventually, hopefully, you'll buy the other one. Or if not, I'll get Curry to pay for them all. But It's so important to understand social engineering, the different types of scams. I hate to say it, got to think like a New Yorker. Can't trust anybody. Sorry. Somebody said to me at a conference a couple of months ago, they said, Scott, what you're telling me is we can't go back to 20 years ago. I'm like, yeah, because my kids are using it. My senior parents are using it. So there's a lot of things. Yes, sir.
I had a conversation with my son-in-law and daughter-in-law. Conversation with my son, daughter-in-law. They're both millennials. I said, how do you relate to boomers? And they said, boomers are so naive. They will believe anything. And my son-in-law said, yeah, we were in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I got a call from my mother, and she said, there's a big pileup of snow coming to Shreveport. John went on to the website that she was talking about, and there were mountains in the background. He said, Mom, there are no mountains in Shreveport. So there's a generational thing going on here. The millennials and the Xers are a lot more skeptical than people my age are.
You see, and I see a lot of people falling through with it because more people are dating online. More people are very, very trusting online. Everyone's swiping left and swiping right. So we're having a generation of like my kids, which my son just got his first job. And the first piece of advice I gave him was, Aiden, if you get a text message from your boss saying that you need to buy gift cards for something, people fall for this. This is the only time I'm trying not to make people laugh. People fall for this. Every company gets hit. I dealt with one CEO. He came to me. He goes, I think I have a data breach. Every time I hire a new employee, they're getting a cell phone call. They're getting a message from me. I said, are your employees putting that information on LinkedIn? He's like, yes. The younger generation is oversharing and doesn't understand privacy. They're putting everything on that. So, we got to talk to different people. The schools aren't doing enough about it. When I went to the Williamson County, and I'm going to wrap this up, I'll stick around after, I went to the Williamson County School District in 2008 and said, what are you guys doing to educate the students because you're giving everyone Wi-Fi? And they're like, we don't have time in the curriculum to do that. So then I went to the PTO and they're like, we just have time for fundraising. I write about this in the book. And now everyone's wondering why the problem keeps getting worse. But I'm starting to sound like my mother. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
So I advise my clients when they're freezing their credit to also freeze their children's credit. I mean, are you still seeing a lot of identity theft with under 18 minors because they're not usually checking their credit and they don't find it?
The information that we put out there. So great point. Going once.
I'm sure I'm the only person in the room, but I have this one password that I can use for a lot of different things. And every time I use it, I said, this is really stupid of me to do this, but I'd use it again. They've got these services like, LastPass and all these other things. Do you recommend anybody, just go to them, let them create these weird passwords?
The service that I use does it. I have a whole chapter in my book. I'm never going to get like my mom to use a password manager or certain people. I come up with, and I don't want you to change all of your passwords. I want you to think about what are the top 5 passwords that if the cyber criminal got access to would ruin you financially. And then change those and come up with a passphrase and take the first letter off of each thing. So the password would be, my son Aiden is studying mechanical engineering. I'll never forget that phrase. Take the first letter off of each word and put it into a password and then put a special symbol and number in the front. Or how about this? I can never remember my Gmail password. Write the phrases down and just do that and do them separately for your 5 most important accounts. That's what I want everyone here to do today. That's your only homework. Think of those most important passwords and then put 2-factor authentication. Absolutely, because here's what happens. If the bad guy gets access to your AT&T password because of a breach, he's going to log into everything. Now, I can sit here and I can talk longer than Curry can. But I'm going to stick around after if anyone has any additional questions. Because I heard they'll fire you if you let the speaker go too long.
All right. You have been here before, so we thank you for coming back. We do have a speaker guest.
Is this a Cadillac?
Not. We give it to time with us. Maybe the second graders and do a share. Actually, you know what? We can start fueling the kids in the schools ourselves. Okay. Next week. What's next week, you guys? Aside from Halloween. Yes. I know Maureen has a lot of fun stuff, so please be here. Foundation Drive kickoff is next week. Maria, thank you for coming again. It's a pleasure to see you, and I will chat with you right after. The chairs, 8, not against the walls. Okay? All right. So for the good, unless there's anything else, I'm not going to pick on Curry again. So for the good of Rotary,